Hey, what's up, YouTube channel? Alpha Squad. This Tars down again, y'all. This is that Go Hard to Go Home channel, y'all. So, hey, today we going live. All right. So this is our first live, um, and we're going to be talking about avoiding narcissistic people and the difference between dating and tricking, or pay to play, as you want to say. Okay. So y'all know me, I just go ahead and get into it. As this being the first live, I'm gonna go ahead and do that also, okay? Same thing, no matter what I do. All right. Avoiding narcissistic and toxic people is very important in a person's life. Okay. Look, I don't know about you, but I ran into a couple of these doggone knuckleheads myself. And it just ain't what people really want. I mean, basically a big kid who doesn't want to grow up and blames everybody else for their problems because they don't want to grow up. So if you don't want to grow up, I mean, like, really, how can you blame somebody else? But still, at the end of the day, that's what these people do. So there's nothing you can really do about it. I mean, they classify it as some kind of personality disorder, and it may be so. Maybe medically it's so, but for the everyday average person out there on the street, I think it's just some people who don't want to grow up, and I think that's what you should call it, and that's what I call it, and it's what I'm always call it. Okay, but I wanted to come on here today during the live because it's one of my first few lives, and engage with people about what they need to do in this type of situation. Okay, these people would tear up your life and they act like ain't nothing happened. All right, I don't know if you ever dealt with a narcissist. I've dealt with a lot of them, and in my time being in the military, I've counseled a lot of them. You know, this was that guy that was, or that girl who was on the job at the military, and I guess maybe they wasn't there for a certain reason. Maybe they didn't have a purpose for being there, but they didn't want to follow the rules. And no matter how much you tried to adjust them to follow the rules, they always found some reason to make it your fault instead of theirs. When in all real reality, it was always their fault. And it was always going to be their fault. Okay? Why? Because they're the ones who are not doing what they're supposed to do. So you got to know that when you're going even towards this thing. Okay? These people, they don't accept responsibility in life like a normal person should. And that's the real problem with them. Okay? Now, this thing is about avoiding them. And we're going to get into that in a minute here. We're going to get into a little bit about how to avoid them. All right? Because I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to be hard to do it because a lot of people just today in this society, in this American society, they are narcissistic. And there's nothing you can really do about it. The thing you have to do is know what to do to protect you, or know what to do to get you out of that situation. So let's start off with recognizing a narcissistic person. Let's start off with that. Okay, because a lot of people have a problem with this. I had a problem with it in the beginning. All right. There's a lot of them that played tricks on me, got me into their little web, and that was it on that one. You know what I'm saying? What nothing you really do once you're in the web, you kind of just fall victim to it, or however you want to look at it. Okay, but they play it like they're cool or they're nice people or they're gonna do the right things towards you. In this state, they call it love bombing. You know, they act like a normal person, but even me, from my experience, I can see through that. If I would have known then what I know now, I would have seen through it. Is why I'm telling other people about it now. It's a weird sense when you're talking to these people. You're gonna know it. Anybody that's dealt with it, if you're watching right now and you dealt with it, you're gonna know it. Okay? You're gonna know what it is. So after it's usually after it happens to you, and that's the problem with it. Okay. So here's the deal. You're gonna see something in these people in the beginning that does not look right or doesn't sound right. Okay. In most cases, people are pushy and bossy. When I had to counsel them and stuff in the army, I started realizing I didn't know at that point there was some kind of personality disorder. I just thought I was like, man, these people don't know who they are. Too big for their britches. You must not know who you are. You must not know where you at. But later on in life, I found out about this narcissism thing, and I started realizing a lot of those people I talked to, that was the issue with them. So on that note, let's roll into how you gonna deal with that. You on your end got to know that it's not your job to fix somebody else's life. Okay? Or to fix their problems. Most of the time when people get involved with this narcissistic junk, it's got something to do behind trying to help the person. Because there's nothing wrong being a good person and wanting to help people. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. But look, if somebody is an adult and they have not gained control of their own lives, there's nothing you can do about that. That's my main step to avoiding these people. Look, a person that can't take care of themselves is always going to show themselves. Okay? They're always going to show themselves. And you're going to see it that they can't take care of themselves. You're going to see it. But the thing is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to sit there and try to help that person? Or are you going to say, hey, look, let them take care of themselves because that person is an adult? The main key to avoiding toxic and narcissistic people in your life is to let adults take care of themselves. If adults can't take care of themselves, then there's really nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it at all. And if you try to do something about it, you're probably going to get hurt in the process. Why? Because it's already hard to take care of kids, y'all. I got like 4 of them. Imagine taking care of an adult. It's kind of what you wind up doing when you're dealing with these people. That's why I've known with all of them I've ever met, I've known to be that way. They care about themselves only. They're trying to progress their own little agenda, and they would do it at the cost of other people if they got to. That coupled with a just in general hatred of anybody that's doing better. They try to bring them down too. The main definition of narcissism to me is misery loves company. Misery loves company. So you find somebody around you is always miserable, and there's always some downer junk going on, you might need to get out of there because the person's probably narcissistic or they're probably toxic. It's a high chance of it. And all the ones I ever met, I didn't have to clinically diagnose them. Okay, I didn't have to do that. what I found out was from looking at their life. If they didn't have nothing going on, if they was always messing up stuff and things going wrong and this and that and problems and you already know what it is really. So they don't have to tell you. They really don't have to tell you. Okay. It's going to be out there for you to see. And, you know, it's going to be on you to either kind of see what they're doing and accept what they're doing as disrespect to you, or you're going to look at what they're doing and you're going to try to help them out. And see, that's where the problem comes in with the narcissistic people. What I try to tell people to do is say, hey, look, if you're going to deal with the narcissistic people, you shouldn't deal with them. You shouldn't, because it's a big old kid that there's nothing that you can do nothing about. Okay, look, it's hard to doggone you. It's almost hard to discipline your own children around here, guys, folks. If you want to avoid these people, the best thing you can do is to doggone leave them alone. Or if you can't leave them alone, because sometimes you done got into a situation, shoot, I got a kid with a chick that I think is a narcissist. But the thing of it is, I deal with her in certain ways. And that's what I'm talking about on this type of channel, you know what I'm saying, on the show. So see, like when I'm telling people, like, it's not something I'm dealing with personally in my life. It's not, there's not that. This is the reason why I can come on here and tell you about that. I deal with this junk all the time. Crazy junk, coming up with shit. And it's like, nobody said none of that. And in the relationship with the bad, I left that junk and let it be what it be. I'll find me somebody who on that crazy junk, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. So when you're dealing with a narcissistic person, it's probably not on purpose. In most cases, it's not on purpose. You know, most people got into dealing with that narcissistic person because they care about people, because they're not a bad person. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing. Oh, camera on that. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to be a good person, you want to help people out, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. And that's what narcissistic people prey on. It's the reason why you got to kind of avoid them. It's the reason why you almost can't have no empathy. I pause because, you know what I'm saying, I don't want to say something bad about nobody or nothing, but these people are kind of bad people. And they're people that you don't really want to be around. They waste a lot of time. Hey, going in the wrong direction. And that's why I quit dealing with it myself. And that's why I started telling people on the channel how to avoid it. Because you can avoid it quite simply. You'll avoid it in the first place if when you run into people and they got something wrong in their life, you decide not to deal with them then. You know, I was talking to a young lady the other day. I met on one of those dating sites, okay? And she was telling me a story about her ex-boyfriend or whatever. I guess they got a 1-year-old. And, you know, she was telling me about, like, how he did. And I'm like, look, lady. Well, I didn't say, look, lady or ma'am to her. I just really went on with it like this right here and said, hey, look, not to her, but more to myself. I got to look at the fact that this woman kind of dealt with this. All right. And the dude just, I guess, like she said, he got with her and said all this kind of stuff, and then a bunch of stuff was happening, and she's RN, and she was about to lose her license because of this dude and stuff like that, and marijuana charges and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, I started looking at myself like, okay, you got a lot of chaos in your life. You got a whole lot of chaos in there for somebody who probably should have made a better decision. You know what I'm saying? And you say you took a younger person and stuff like that. But you'll give anybody a chance. I had to look at that because this other person, this woman was 4 kids deep and about 30 years old. 4 kids deep and 30 years old. Okay, that's a lot of bad decision making. When she got telling me when we did talk, and she started telling me about how many kids she got and stuff like that, I'm like, okay. And I'm like, this person probably make a lot of bad decisions. Now, I'm not saying she was a narcissist, but I do think that she didn't take accountability for herself, which means you're probably toxic. Like I say, just out of that situation right there, showing y'all people usually telling themselves. And somebody that made a lot of bad decisions, they probably a toxic person. I'll let that go, y'all. I would on here let that go. Because why go ahead and go into a situation where I already kind of know what it is? That'll be bad on me. So, you know what I'm saying? There wouldn't be nothing I could really say about it if, you know what I'm saying, I went on the whole thing with her and then things messed up with me and her. I couldn't say nothing about it because it would be my personal decision to, we don't went into that. So I let that go. And that's why I'm telling people what the thing about avoiding toxic people and the narcissist, because you can already kind of see the pattern and the bad things that's going on in their life. You can already kind of see it because people, when you meet them, they're gonna be talking to you and telling you things. So you're gonna be able to kind of see that they already ain't got stuff going on right. And if you choose to go on with that person, remember that, like, my thing about this is this right here. This is how I wean myself off of it. I started looking at it like this. These people are adults like me. Okay, if I made a bunch of bad decisions, it wouldn't be nobody else's job to bail me out or to feel sorry for me or to try to change me or try to get me to go to the right way. Why should I take responsibility for this other person and do that? They can take responsibility for their own lives, but the thing of the narcissist is probably never going to do it. And this toxic thing and narcissist thing, these people just probably never going to take responsibility for their own lives. So there's nothing you can really do about it. And if you combine your life with those people, oh, you really screwed. Then it's really over. It is really over. So you got to look at it from that point of view. I'm not saying to be all the way selfish, but you do got to think of yourself some too. You do. You got to think of yourself. So, because if you don't ever think of yourself, you're going to stay in a bad situation. Look, the main key to avoiding narcissistic and toxic people in your life is to care about you. It's to care about you. If you don't care about you, nobody else is going to care about you. And you can expect for anybody else to care about you. You really can't. So I'm going to kind of close out on that one. And we're going to get into the next subject here before we get ready to get out of here in about another 20 or 30 minutes. Okay? Now, avoiding toxic and not narcissistic people kind of plays into the second one too. Okay. And this is the difference between dating and pay to play or tricky. Okay. So we're gonna talk about that subject next. Both of these two right here kind of go together. All right. Now the reason I came up with the whole thing with the talking about the difference between dating and pay to play is because I had one of my viewers to come on my channel and tell me like, hey, look, I made a video and I talked about in the video uh only doing dates with people that, are interested in you or that you may be interested in, but both of y'all are interested. It's a mutual interest. Okay. So I made that and I'm gonna start a question and answer here on this. Okay. And we're gonna ask in the thing here, what do you think is the difference? What do you think is the difference between dating and pay to play? Okay. So we got that going on there. So, what do you think is the difference between dating and pay to play? Because the difference between dating and pay to play kind of really matters a lot in things that people have going on here in this whole little dating thing in modern society. Okay, in today's society, a lot of things have changed since I was younger. Okay, when I was younger, things that they still work kind of the same. Actually, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna tell y'all, most of these things kind of work the same, but there's a lot of differences now these days that weren't here before. You know, so my thing is, I'm trying to ask people what they think is the difference between dating and pay to play. I got a lot of different ideas about it. My idea of it is, I put it really kind of simple. If that woman don't leave your house with some money in her pocket because you had to pay her, well, then that's not pay to play. That's my idea of it. But y'all can look over there in the little question and answer, and you can answer on the side over here. So I want to get some answers from the audience. What's the difference between pay to play and dating? Okay. So here's my thing. All right. Pay to play and dating, those are two different things. People don't try to, some guys I think don't try to differentiate between two, but the two are different. All right. There's also a difference between a meetup and a date. And a lot of people don't put that into play when they're talking either. So we're going to talk about that a little bit in a minute here. All right. So look, basically, it's pay to play. If you had to pay this woman directly, or if you're a woman and you had to pay this man directly to meet with you, that is pay to play. All right. Y'all ain't talking about hanging out with each other, no vibe with each other, no none of that junk. We're gonna meet up and do this. That is pay to play. Okay. Now, dating is different. Dating has a different aspect to it. When dating is going on, the two people have a mutual sexual interest in each other, some type of interest in each other. So you don't have to come in there with money because the other person has some interest in you. Okay? That's how that kind of works. So for people to be walking around talking about it's all pay to play, that's not really the truth. It's not. The truth is, it's only pay to play when you directly go to this person and say, "Hey, look, okay, I I want to give you this and get quid quo pro," as they used to say in the army. When I was in the army, they used to say that quid quo pro, quid pro quo. Oh, yeah, quid pro quo. This for that. Okay, which means you give me this for that. Exactly right there. So there's a difference between the two when it comes down to dating and this pay to play thing. Okay, a lot of people trying to misconstrue the two, but they're actually very much different things. All right, and you gotta know that. All right, it's pay to play when you just proposition the other person. That's pay to play. All right, dating, you two got some kind of mutual interest in each other, and a couple of outings happen on that. That's dating. Okay. So, like I said, a lot of people got a lot of different ideas about it. And you got a question and answer going on in the doggone chat. So, if you got any ideas about that, let us know in the Q&A in the chat. Get your answer and find out what you're thinking. But the thing is, a lot of people are trying to put pay to play and dating in the same category when they just don't fit together. There's more feeling and stuff in dating than there is in pay to play. Pay to play is just let's just do this. You know what I'm saying? So knowing that you can't really righteously try to justify putting the two together. It just don't make no sense. I think a lot of people do this because like maybe people can't do dating the right way. And I'm saying this when I'm saying this, I'm talking in general about guys. Maybe some of them can't do, dating the right way. And since they can't do dating the right way, they don't want to do they call it pay to play. Or they try doing the pay to play way. I was talking about this with one of my friends earlier, and this is what we was discussing. A lot of times some of these guys are going out here and they're spitting out money at women like they're supposed to impress them. Or even sometimes we've done shows where there were guys and they were talking to us about it, and they were saying like, well, you gotta do this to try to impress her. You gotta do this and that, and that's where the fail comes in on a pay to play and the dating thing. That's where the whole fail comes in. If you got to use the money to impress the person up front, you are doing pay to play. If you think about it just straight up and down, that is what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. The person should have a little bit of impression of you already. I talked about this in my last video that I did about serial daters. Guys don't really have to deal with serial daters. But because most of them is going out there trying to throw a date out to try to attract somebody instead of talking to the person and seeing the person attracted to them in the first place, see, they're getting this other result. And see, you don't want that. I don't want it. I ain't never wanted it. And I ain't going to try to tell nobody that's how you get it. You got to kind of vet these people out a little bit. And that's why I want to get into this thing with the difference between the dating and stuff like that. With dating, you gotta have to kind of get a vibe for this person. They got to get a vibe for you. So you're gonna have to take a few steps before offering a date anyway. All right. And the Q&A, y'all, if y'all got time, hey, We ask them, what do you think is the difference? Because I'm saying one difference, but you might not agree. So let me know what you think in the Q&A. We're going to have, we can bring people up here sooner or later, but right now we ain't got it that way. So let's talk about this right here. Look, as the guy that's doing the dating, right? Because you're going to be one who has to ask. Or even if the woman is the one who asks. Honestly, it really kind of don't matter who asks. I'm going to tell you the truth. All right? When it comes down to a dating or pay-to-play situation, there has to be some kind of mutual interest between the two people. The two people got to have some kind of interest between each other. If they don't, it's going to wind up being pay-to-play in some kind of way. And when I say some kind of way, I mean in this way right here. All right? If the people don't have a vested interest in each other, which like, I just like this person, or, you know, I'm really attracted to them, here's what winds up happening. They graft on to something else about you that they like. You provide security, or she's always available. Okay, that kind of thing. And then what happens is, if the person stops that thing, then the relationship starts going down the drain. The relationship starts going down the drain right then. So you gotta know that. Okay? So, but look, y'all, hey, this has been our live for the day. It's been about 30 minutes, and we ain't really got nobody in, so we're gonna get on out of here. But if you're seeing this right now, you got any comments, drop the comments on there and let us know what you're thinking. We out of here. It's Charles Downey, and it's that Go Hard to Go Home channel. Peace. I'm out.